Bum 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 bum
Drama.
bum. Ba-ba-da-ba, dun,
Action.
dun, 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 ba-dum, bam, bum,
Comedy.
ba-dum, tss, bum, ba-dun, dun, 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 dun,
Palace
dun, 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 dun,
intrigue.
dun, 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 dun,
Story
dun, bum, bum,
Squad
boom,
presents
dun,
Clash
dun,
of the
dun, 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 dun.
Pencils. All right, welcome, folks. It's a chilly fall night here in Milford, Delaware. We've got some great heavyweight story matchups for you tonight. We're going to recap all the day's highlights and Clash of the Pencils action. Welcome to the nightly live stream, the most watched creative writing esport league live stream in the history of the internet. That is a fact, folks. We had our legal team check it today, and they gave us the all clear on that one. I'm your host, Tom Sherman, and we're here as we are every weeknight to review the top 3 Clash of the Pencils submissions from around the net, get the latest scores, see who's atop the leaderboard, and of course, go over the top 5 sentences of the day. We field anywhere from zeros to tens of submissions daily, which then get run through a high tech computer, Storybot 3000, which uses, among other things, Morse code to analyze every story. We then take Storybot's top 3 stories and let you, the public, determine tonight's winner. My usual co host, Greg the JPEG Peterson, is actually out on assignment. He's currently working on a project filming the bees of Antarctica. So, unfortunately, folks, you're just going to be stuck with me tonight. So, before we get underway, we'll just take a quick look at the leaderboard, which will be quick because no one's on it yet. It's the first night of the week, first night of action. And our prompt today was a character is lost in a maze and time is running out. So it's kind of nebulous as far as the character. You do have a setting of some sort of a maze. And in the end, the plot is time is running out. So it seems like there's a fairly straightforward action here. And before we start the first story, let's just remind the viewers what we're playing for or what our athletes are playing for this week. Um, it is an NFT, and I'll show you the NFT that you're playing for right here. Um, but that is not actually the NFT. It's an IOU. It's an NFT of an IOU for you to turn in later for a different NFT that we're going to drop here from Story Squad and our Word Hoax app. So again, this is the NFT you're playing for this week, but this isn't the real NFT. The real NFT is a different one that you'll turn this NFT back into us in order to get the other NFT. Okay? I think that's pretty perfectly clear. I don't know what could be confusing about that. And without further ado, let's check out our first story of the night, coming from SAR Blue 7788. Crud, I don't have much time, Cameron muttered to himself as he looked at his phone for the time. 7:57. They would start opening presents and cake at 8. Why had he let his younger sister talk him into going into the corn maze? What was worse was she had left him behind to go off with her friends. With a heavy sigh, Cameron put his phone back into his pocket. He had to find a way out of here fast, but every way he turned looked the same. He had one last option. He started to jog, and he turned down the right path every chance he had. The pest exterminator had made a remark a few weeks ago. He said, if you follow the right wall from the entrance, you eventually make it all the way around the house. It was Cameron's last hope now. It wasn't long before he was out of breath. Stopping to catch it, he heard a voice calling out, Cameron, hurry up! He turned around the last corner to see his sister. There you are. We've been waiting. Come on. He smiled while he followed behind. Of course she'd wait for him. Well, there you have it, folks. Starting fast, there's 3 minutes left. A younger sister is missing, and you're lost in a maze. Cameron decides to take the exterminator's trick and does right turns only, sprints through the maze to find his sister waiting at the end for him, just in time to go eat cake, I assume. And what I like about this is it's built great conflict and anticipation immediately, right? I mean, there's the time limit. The younger sister's missing. You're lost in a maze, and everybody at the birthday party is going to know if you and your sister are missing. So it's all built up right in there, ready for an action-packed story. I enjoyed that the exterminator gave some prior advice, and now that comes in handy. I could see that being, if this was a longer form story, that might be an aside conversation that the exterminator has with the character, and it comes back, at a jolt of memory right when they need it. That I enjoyed that. And a great little ending where finds the sister waiting, and they all get cake, and all is good. So my main questions though did come from this guy. He seems a little too old to be getting ditched by his sister and outwitted by her, and her beating him out of the maze. Either that, or he seems a little too young to be hanging out with exterminators in mazes. So I don't know. There was a little disconnect there for me. And also, I would have liked to see a little more tension with the sister being missing, possibly, responsibility and consequences. There's just a little bit of an opportunity there that SAR Blue 7788 had. But overall, I do think it's a very solid story. I mean, I think the characters were all fairly well developed, and as well as the plot. It was all. I think it was just a solid in the setting. I was there in a corn maze. I could see everything as it was happening. So I don't know. I think it's just a solid sort of triangle where they spent time building each one of these, the character, the plot, and the setting in an equilateral sort of angle, and there wasn't really a yeah, that's it. That's it. That's all I'm going to say about that. That was a solid little story. We'll see what. Let's see. We've got one more Joanna Man. Let's see what they have to say about this.
The time of reckoning was fast approaching. The bugles sounded. Cries of "Pours, pours" echoed endlessly. Even the giraffes' long necks turned and turned and turned 720 degrees around. The crisp air sparkled in the sunlight. He felt emotional and yet also curious about what he was going to experience. Pain, whiteness, sound, darkness, nothingness. It was embraced and welcomed. Pours, pours. As the time ticked forward, the sounds of each second passing by seemed to get louder and more noticeable. But, of course, there was nothing to be done but to wait and feel and embrace the end. Mom! Where was God now to save me? Pours, pours, grew louder and more rapid. Pours, pours, morassed the ocean. A flock of geese flew in a V-shaped pattern over the reservoir. A single grass blade that had struck the lead goose's feathers fluttered endlessly towards earth. It twisted and turned and rose and felt by the gusts of winds coming off the mountain. Pours, pours, bounced off the water's waves. You look great today. Have you been working out?
Wow, an elegant out-of-body experience of the dying thoughts of a person en route to the ethereal plane. As such, the maze in this story is life itself. Meanwhile, it's also written in this interesting visual that had to make Storybot think. There was just vivid imagery, a sense of excitement and confusion, very palpable throughout the story. As you're sort of like floating and seeing, minute details in this macroscopic sort of lens. And a great interesting use of onomatopoeia with the pours pours. It's one of those stories actually that you got to read a couple of times, and each read through you kind of get a little bit more, which is always an enjoyable experience. There was a change of voice a few times that kind of threw me off. It says he felt emotional, but then midway through it says, where was God to save me? So that shift was interesting and if intentional. I'd love to pick the author's brain about that at some point. But the final lines also were a little puzzling, and not sure if it's just over my head and I didn't quite get it. But the "You look great today. Have you been working out?" Not really sure where that come from. It was just very jarring to me, and that's why I wish I could have Greg the JPEG with me today, because he's normally good at ferreting out these sorts of symbolisms that are kind of lost on a layman like myself. But let's see. As far as the characters, again, Joanna Man, this is the second time that they've sort of gone in this avant-garde piece where it was kind of characterless. I mean, there was the person that was dying, but really, I mean, the focus again here was the setting, and it was an elegant setting of watching a soul rise up through the atmosphere, and just stuff like, the blade of grass sticking to the goose, and that visual. It was good, and the same with the plot. I mean, it was an interesting plot there, especially once you figure out that it is this sort of maze of life that the character is running out of time in. It's a thinker. It's definitely a thinker. I just think maybe there could have been a little bit more character development. I mean, final thoughts beyond just observing this zoom out kind of Earth and the human experience, and more into, why was he screaming for his mom? Why did he need God's help saving him now? Was there regrets underlying there that we just don't know about, or what exactly is it? So I'm going to leave the characters, again, up here in the outer plane. But again, I don't think that was Joanna Man's focus. It was really in the setting, getting that vivid description, and that's what earned him a top spot tonight. And that leaves us with the final contender. And folks, this has really been a heavyweight battle. I mean, honestly, we've got three regular top three authors in the podium space tonight. And the third one, I'm sure, will not disappoint either. This comes from the author-writer named Slice.
Dull-eyed apparitions of Mark the Creator haunted every turn, every sprint, every tick of the maze. Just a month ago, this VR escape from Bayberry Mansion on Meta was the best gift a 10-year-old could get. Some of the guys at work had told my uncle their kids had gotten lost in the reality of the maze. All of my friends were jealous when I bragged about getting it. I had to wait until after finals to play. Mom had said she knew she wouldn't see her little boy for ages once he started. Whatever happened to Feather Moore? He'd gotten it around March. He never came back to school. We thought he had mono. Maybe he's still in there. Maybe he never got out. 30 seconds till time up, Mark, my reptilian overlord, said, his teeth filed down to human-like nubs by his PR team, his forked tongue retracted and hidden in a toaster-mouthed smile. Panic. Each step grew heavier. Panic. Each swipe of ivy more futile. Panic. The cobblestone flooring went from lint to ash to coal until despair, loss of light. I was on my knees in the maze, trapped, and all I could see was a dwindling timer, and all I could feel was space closing. I was being lost. "Time's up," I said. My mother shrieked, ripping off my VR goggles and unplugging my computer. "You're going to eat one meal with us today." I scooted past her and downstairs for some very good chicken.
Well, there you have it, folks. A train of thought while stuck in a dystopian maze of social media magnates' personal creation. Frantically searching for an out of our unnamed protagonist. He thinks, about the joy and fears of him acquiring this VR game that he's trapped in before saved by their mother, eager for one last family meal, which was some very good chicken. Hallmarks of some strong character descriptions. Classic Slice here. things like the doll-eyed apparitions and the toaster-mouthed smile. It might have been interesting to run into Feather more in the maze, see him crying or in a dead end or something along those lines. The Deus Ex Machina at the end. That was, I think the most interesting part of that is it's kind of like a human saving them from a machine rather than a machine saving humans, which is it's kind of like an upside down Deus Ex Machina these days, which is I don't know if that's intentional or if that's just kind of like me rambling about nothing into this void that I call life. But anyways, I did love the scooting past for very good chicken. I could see that being a kid bolting downstairs, awkwardly, just like kind of like scrambling by to get some food so they can get back in there, get into the maze, and get lost again, and to feel this existential dread all over until wrapped back into reality. So taking a look at the triangle, I think we had some very strong characters. I mean, the antagonist was definitely the most real, which was the Mark the Creator, the reptilian with a PR firm that was filing down teeth. The kid had a pretty strong train of thought, and even the mother, even though she was only in there for 2 lines, she was fully developed as far as her motivations and desires. Likewise, the plot was also very strong in this one, where you did get that sense of foreboding, the timer counting down, much like in SAR Blues, that constraint gives you that pressure to make the plot move forward. So strong plot, strong characters. I do think the setting was a little bit lacking. It had the descriptions of the the ivy and some cobblestones, but beyond that, there wasn't really too much describing what this maze was. So it was kind of just a blank vision for me until we got to the brief description of the ivy and the cobblestones, but then they're turning to black. So I mean, it seems like they were going for like this you're in this place and all of a sudden it's disappearing and now you're just trapped in a black box where you can't get out. The time's up, so you can't, there's nothing left for you to do except sit there. And if that was the case, they almost got there. They were close, but just not quite. There, it was just a little confusing to me there. And if that's not what you were going for, then see, that's what I'm talking about. But no, very strong story, very good story. I enjoyed all 3 of these immensely, and let's see how the internet felt about them. So we're gonna hit the refresh button. We hit that, and we're gonna bring up our scoreboard. And wow, Joanna Man on top with a 165. So he got first with the person slowly dying and last thoughts. Slice coming in second with his virtual reality maze of Mark the Creator, the Reptilian Overlord's designs, and SAR Blue 7788 coming in third with their Lost in a Maze as well. So these daily scores are going to be the same as the weekly currently, which makes sense. And so let's see. We got Dragon Attack coming in fourth with 40 points, Jabberwocky at 26, the Doctor at 24, and Champion, ouch, sporting a 0. That can't feel good for someone with the handle Champion to be starting out the week at the bottom of the barrel. That's a tough break, folks. That's just, that's just about it. So let's see. it's still anyone's game, though. A lot of points out there to be had, a lot of days left. And, you know, if there's anything I've learned from analyzing Clash of the Pencils, it's that this is a marathon. This isn't a sprint. I mean, you know, it's just going to be, we're just going to have to see how the chips fall over the next few days before there's any real clear picture. So even champion, you're still in it, bud. Keep at it. Yeah. So let's see. We'll take a quick look at the prompt for tomorrow. A prince and or princess are trapped in a castle dungeon. How do they escape? So there you have it. Looks like we have a characters already built in with prince and or princess. The setting is a castle dungeon, allegedly, and how do they escape? So the plot, it's really a plot-focused prompt tomorrow. I'm excited to see what all these folks can do out there with it. So before we go, one of our favorite moments of the night, top 5 sentences of the day. Let's run through them now. Number 5, SARBlue7788. Crap, I don't have much time, Cameron muttered to himself as he looked at his phone for the time. Setting off a whirlwind of events and really dragging the reader into a strong opening, setting up some tension and conflict. Number 4, coming from Dragon Attack, around every corner was a chicken, cow, sheep, or pig. Just some really great setting and description there, describing a virtual maze where you could eat these animals as health packs and whatnot. Number 3 from Slice, Mark, my reptilian overlord, said his teeth filed down to human like nubs by his PR team, his forked tongue retracted and hidden in a toaster-mouthed smile. Wow, I really got the sense of like this like billionaire that had created a social media network and really wanted to take over the whole online, I don't know, metaverse or something like that. And not really human, but with a thin veneer created by a PR team. Just really brilliant, really kind of got the description of the character. Hit the nail on the head right there. Number 2 from Joanna Man, a single grass blade that had stuck to the lead goose's feathers fluttered endlessly towards earth. Just a beautiful sentence of pillowy, vivid imagination, really making you think about, what it's like to be a blade of grass. And then all of a sudden you're 80,000 feet in the air flying on a goose, and then you're falling. And meanwhile, there's human souls rising up into the troposphere. What a trip, folks. What a trip. And that leads us to the number 1 line of the night, coming from Champion. Is it because of Pavlov's dog or Schrodinger's cat? Either way, the rat was in the race, and now it had to adapt. Just an interesting line there with working in a lot of different social scientists and whatnot, theorists, dogs, cats, and rats. And also, we have to show you, they were trying to get avant-garde, just like Joanna Man showed everybody, but did not work out. That's gotta hurt. So it looks like they tried to make a little bit of a maze here out of the writing, but just a little too much, too abstract for Storybot to pick up, and obviously angered it to the point of giving Champion 0 points, which, I mean, I don't know. I didn't think it was that bad, but hey, I'm not Storybot 3000, so, I don't make the rules around here. I just read the scripts that Storybot prints out for me. And that wraps up another edition of Clash of the Pencils nightly live stream. So until next time, we'll see you out on the paper.
Do you want to participate in the Clash of the Pencils and Story Squad universe? It's easy. Join us on Twitter or in our Discord server at Story Squad HQ. There's lots of ways to participate. draw some fan art, play our addictive game of jokes and master strokes, Word Hoax, or join Greg's monthly book club. And as always, remember to pay your cat tax. Money, fame, and love can all be found here at Story Squad.